Likkutei Torah, page 64, second column, Eis Gimel. Okay, the last thing the Alter Rebbe is explaining that you need to awaken pity on yourself. So he says that ideally, how do you get this level of elokus to be revealed on you? So if you're not a keli, so then you need to awaken rachmanis. What happens if you try to awaken pity on yourself and you still can't even awaken pity on yourself? So he says then you have to have a real pity. Yet it's so bad that you don't even have pity on yourself. Like we said yesterday about a fool. It's such a pity that they don't even realize it's a pity, so to speak. So now he says like this. But there's another thing you need to keep in mind. In the marketplaces and in the streets, I will seek this that my soul loved. Until life. In other words, it says like this. The pasuk says, wherever it is, the pasuk says is, I will look in the marketplaces for what I love. I will find it. Okay? I will hold it. I will not let go of it. I'll bring it back to my mother's house and to the room of my parents. This is what the pasuk says. It's one of Shlomo Melech's psukim, okay? So he says, I will seek in the marketplaces and the street, meaning in the public places, this that I love. I will grab, when I find it, I will grab it. I'll not let go of it. I'll bring it back to my mother and my parents' house. Pirush, what does this pasuk mean? Sho'ava nafshi. It doesn't say sha'ava nafshi. Ava means past tense with a comet. Lashon kvar. Ma sho'ava kvar, what it already loved from before. What does it mean? It speaks about the Jew looking for the neshama. But he says it in past tense. Why? Because that represents the neshama the way it was, l'mayla olu b'machshava, which is the level of taheda hi kreda mata berasa, before the neshama comes into the body. And in this level of the neshama is the hidden or that he explained before that Hashem hid. Shava Mesuteres can now the hidden love which is, the love which is concealed. Opeda Shasa Kitay Lugonis, it was good to hide. So he says like this. The last thing that Rabbi says you need to keep in mind also is that this neshama, which was loved, meaning it comes from a very lofty place of elokus. And then it has this natural ava mesuteres, the hidden love that every Jew possesses. Like it's achmi sheyesh aval yeshmi shavazu b'chinas aveda etzli. But sometimes even this hidden love is hidden by people. You know that even when you look for it, you can't find it. Or b'chinas golus in the level of golus. Therefore, it says, "And I will seek." Okay, it says, "I will seek what I lost." Meaning, this refers to the person looking deeply into himself to find the lost ava mesuteres, the lost hidden love, to bring it back home, so to speak. Where do you look? Where do you look for this hidden love? The pasuk says, "B'shvakim u'berchayves," in public domains, meaning not in the world of Achdus Hashem Einoid Milvadei, but in the world of pirud, separation, diversity, and so on. But then the pasuk continues. He says, "When I get it, I'll grab it and not let go of it." What's the problem? Sometimes you find it, but you don't have the car to bring it home in. You can find what you lost, but how are you going to bring it home? You need a keli to bring it home. He says, in Eliyiskai and Be'er Hashem, this word of Hashem, this revelation of godliness will not last Bilti Kalim without the Kalim. Because, like the Alter Rebbe was going to say, what made it get lost to begin with? The fact that you didn't have a Keli for it. In other words, Elokus is here. You have a vessel for it, it stays. You don't have a vessel for it, it leaves. There's no Torah mitzvahs, godliness leaves. So he says the problem is, why did it leave? Because you didn't make a vessel. So then what's going to happen? You're going to find it, but how are you going to keep it? Because it's going to get lost again. You have to make a keli.
What's the big practice people find?
You marry the person.
You go sit down and what's it?
He's going to explain in a second. Because that itself caused the revelation to leave. So the question, what is going to help finding it? He says, L'chein, this is what he's saying what to do. L'chein ha'etz alasis kelim le'er Hashem. Therefore, the advice is, make a keli. You look for it, but you need to make a keli. Because what are you going to do with it once you find it? So he said, what's the keli? Eis is hatera. Okay, Eis is hatera. Why? The pasuk says two things. You can bring him back to Beis Imi, my mother's home, and Beis Herosi, the home of my parents, yeah? He said, Beis Imi is Torah Shebiksav, V'cheder Herosi, Arezu Torah Shebal Peh. Whatever, that's what it says. Beis Imi is a level of Torah Shebiksav, Cheder Herosi is Torah Shebal Peh. So therefore, what is the pasuk saying? When I find this Ava Misutitis that I lost, because I didn't have a vessel for it, so therefore it was lost. So he says, what do you need to do? You have to make a keli. What is the keli? Learn Torah Shebiksav, Torah Shebal Peh. Then when you find the Ava, it'll be able to stay. In other words, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to go look for myself. People, I'm going to look for myself, you know. Where are you going to look? You're going to find yourself, and then what? You'll be lost again. So in the looking process, in the searching process, therefore it says, how do you look? The puzzle, Achapes es Yerushalayim b'neiros. The Gemara in Pesachim all about, it's a puzzle, but the Gemara says in Pesachim, how do you know you have to do b'dikas chametz to a candle? So the Gemara says you have to search, and how do you search with a candle? So Chassidus explains, what's the candle? Ner mitzvah, v'Torah or. The ner is a mitzvah, Torah is a light. You want to seek. How do you search? You need a candle, it's dark. You need, the light. So what's the light? Ner mitzvah, v'Torah or. You learn Torah Shebaksav, Torah Shebal Peh. That is the keli that you could find it with. And then not only do you find it, then when you find it, you keep it.
The only place we can find ourselves is in Torah and Yisrael.
The only place to find yourself is in yourself. But minute, which is, by the way, Torah, Yisrael, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's all one. But a person, you have to look in ourselves. Okay? He says, where's the marketplace? So he said, the thought, speech, and action that was not for Hashem. That's where you lost. Where did you lose this godliness? Godliness needs a keli. The keli is thought, speech, and action of Torah mitzvahs. That keeps it here. Now you lose it. So you need to look in the place where you lost it. You have to look into your thought, speech, and action. You realize what's all the negativity that he spoke about before, yeah? And then you have to try to awaken it. If that doesn't work, you have to have a rachmanis on yourself. If that doesn't work, you have to have pity on yourself that you don't even have pity on yourself. Yeah, but then he said you need to be aware when you search for it, you have to search for it with a search team, so to speak, with an ambulance and a stretcher. Okay, a guy fell down the cliff and you have a rescue team going to look for him, yeah? Okay, you found him. Now what? How are you going to? But how are you going to bring him back? So you found him. He's shkoyach. No. So you need a keli to bring him back. What's the keli? The keli is Torah mitzvahs. So you have to search with a cat. No, leave it. Just leave it. Huh? Leave it. They said, I don't know. So well, you have to search for it, but you need a keli to search for it. So when you have Torah mitzvahs, but where is the search? We have to look into ourselves. Take a mirror, and look at our thought, speech, and action. And he says, now 8, okay, why do you need the kelim? Because the pasuk says Hashem Elokech is like a consuming fire. Just like a fire cannot hold without a wick, or shum davar nechos or something fuel that it holds onto. The same thing, if I'm going to grab onto what I found, and I'm not going to let go of it until I bring it back, until I have the keli. Look at the east, like it says in the Zayah. Al pasuk harei b'sheshanim. Yeah? The pasuk says, Ani Ledodi Vedodi li, harei b'sheshanim, who grazes amongst the rose bushes. What does it mean? The Medrash says, what is Shoshana? Shoshanim b'hala, they learn. Shona means to learn. L'chein sivaroya, ki Yisrael mefanis elavim shebeshamayim. He says, haroya b'shoshanim, here he defines not only grazing, but being the shepherd. Because we, kaviyachol, believe it or not, we mefanis, in the Medrash says, mefanis elavim shebeshamayim, we give Hashem parnasa. When we learned this, karbani lachmi, what do you mean it's Hashem's bread? Just like bread keeps the neshama alive in the body, Torah mitzvahs keep Hashem alive in the world. So therefore, what is it? It's the parnas of Hashem. Why? By occupying oneself in Torah. Which is the will of Hashem. Ruach. One spirit brings another. How do we get Hashem to reveal His panemius to us in the way of Ani Ledodi? He smiles at everybody. That's only through making a keli. Just like a person eating. The body, because the neshama stays connected to the body. That the neshama is able to function in the body, it's the same way, so to speak. They feed Hashem. They Torah mitzvahs to Torah mitzvahs, which are the tzayne his body, in a way of ruach aisid, ruach vamsid, ruach. Li'asheidom is gal, to become resting and revealing. How I they through Torah and mitzvah tzedakah, which is basically Torah mitzvahs. She made us a chesed, which is the attribute of chesed, which is chitzeni, it's the keli lebchinas od. V'ahava b'chinas pnimius. Okay, so this is what the Alter Rebbe is explaining. You need to make a keli. You make a keli, then the pnimius of Hashem is revealed. Kumesha Kosov. That means there's two kelim. There's a keli of Torah, which is pnimius, you digest it internally. Mitzvahs, we learned, are levushim, garments, right? Because you don't internalize it. And therefore, there's shnei kelim, which is Torah v'chesed. This is what he explains. Now, what's very interesting in this Maamar, the Alter Rebbe officially doesn't answer the original question. The original question was, if Elul is the revelation of Yigimel Midas Rachamim, so the whole month should be a Yom Tov. That was the original question of the Maamar. He never answers it. And Machlal, the Alter Rebbe mentions the Melech Basada, and then he goes way off, and doesn't even talk about Melech Basada anymore. What's your rush?
I mean, what's the holiday for the Yom Tov?
There isn't. Yes, why isn't? If the definition of a Yom Tov means a greater revelation of Elokus, Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim is a greater revelation of Elokus, so it should be a Yom Tov. Okay, so we'll learn the Kitzur, and the Alter Rebbe still doesn't answer it. But then we'll learn the Rebbe's Maamar that rips apart this whole Maamar with the Moshel and everything, and we'll see, how that question is answered. But let's start with the Kitzur, which is Alter Rebbe himself wrote. Be'elu mazchani Ledodi, Serusa de Lasata, Uberosh Hashanah v'yem HaKippurim is Deidi li, Hainam Shochas Alukosi Lamata, Maschil Mitchilas Molatachas El Reishi, which is Yira, and then Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim. So he says, Im Kain, Lama Einam Yontif. This is a summary of. So he says, so why isn't it a Yontif? Achzel Kmeal Derech Moshel Melech Sheyetz Elakabel Pana Basada. It's like the analogy of a king going into the field in Sada Yoye Pana with Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim. Or Yoya Hainu Mashakosov. Kel Hashem Vayor Lanu, and that's the level of Yisrael, which is Yashar Kel or Sar Kel, that the level of Kel, Chesed, which is the first of the Yud Gimel Midas Rachum, Kel Rachum V'Chanun, that is the Sar Umesha B'Kibbeh, that's what rules the person. But the Alter Rebbe alludes to the answer already. Why is it Yemei Choyel? Because the king is coming into the field, into the inyan of Chayil. The uniqueness of Elul, because again, the Alter Rebbe is not answering the question. Why isn't it a Yom Tov? The answer is because this level of Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim is revealing even in the weekday stuff, in the Sada. In the Rebbe's Maamarim, and the Alter Rebbe alludes to it soon, not only does it come into Sada, Melech Basada, but the Alter Rebbe says it also briefly, but the Rebbe explains in more so that not only is it in Sada, it's in Midbar too. Sada, these things grow. People don't live there. Granted, it's not Ir. But still, a field, things grow. You sustain yourself from a field. A Midbar is garnish migarnish. It's nothing. Not only that, it's a midbar, no nachash sarda v'akrav. It's a midbar of snakes and scorpions.
So people who don't come to the Melech are covered too, because it's a midbar.
The king goes to everybody. Now, ideally,
They're not coming out.
so you have to go meet him. You could lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. No, that's the concept. Hashem reveals himself. You guys daven there. You say, "Harchef picha v'amaleu." Open your mouth, and I will fill it. But if you go like this, nothing's going to go in. Correct? You can't force feed somebody. You tried force feeding the Alter Rebbe in prison to give him treifel food. It didn't work. You know what I mean? You can't force feed somebody. Now they have IV. Yeah. The IV also has, it drips into the blood, it drips into the life of the person, but it drips. It's not nourishment of food though. It gives you the nutrients you need, but you're still hungry. Right? You can't get full from IV.
You're not hungry.
Huh?
You're not hungry.
Yes, you are.
You get IV, you're not hungry.
Sure you are. What are you talking about?
You're not hungry.
IV.
You're not thirsty.
You're hungry. You're thirsty and hungry. The IV just gives you nutrients, but your stomach doesn't feel full.
You can't make a bracha on it, and you can't mention it.
If you have a feeding tube, then you can feel full, because then you actually have food going into your system.
You have to bench, you have to feeding tube.
Do you bend? No. You don't make a bracha on a feeding tube.
You do not.
No,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
because you're not eating it.
Right.
Halachically, I'm not talking about chassidus. Halachically, if you're fed with a feeding tube, you can have treifel food, because you're not eating it. It's going straight into your stomach. Unless you can benefit from it, then you're benefiting from it. Then you can't.
A person vomits and swallows it, he's over again. So does he have to make a bracha because he swallowed it?
The first bracha probably covers it. Okay, now.
Meals.
Okay, now, So the Melo Basada doesn't only come to the Sada, he comes into the Midbar too. But you still have to go to meet him. It has to be that level. Oh, I know what you guys did. Your slichas was so warm and so hot. You made the place hot. That's what I'm saying. Huh?
Blow shofar 5 in the morning. Whatever is over.
When you blow shofar before slichas?
In the middle of Hashem, Hashem, in the middle of
That's something new.
I never saw it either because I was never at slichas that time of day. I mean, Elul.
He's never sleeping.
Okay. So he says now, what's the kitzur of Eis Beis? Okay. V'nei yesh ba'adam b'chinas ir meishav. Like it says in Eretz B'shvei Seichem, and there's a level of soda, which is Vayetze Yitzchak l'suach basada, and then Alter Rebbe elaborates more than he did in the Prim, and he says, Midbar shel yoshev adam sham, Heipach, the opposite of what says, Ha'umnum yeshiv alakim al earth, God sits on the earth. In other words, a level of Midbar that's completely, not only, you can't inhabit it, it's nothing. There's no growth, there's nothing.
Except for the lithium that's underneath.
Like it says, so what's the Eitzah? The Eitzah is Commissioner Kosa would be Kashta Misham. You have to go to the level of Sham, which is the level of Klipa, the level of evil. Will be Kashta Misham. From there you need to go Sirk. Ki Asa'er Ki Tev Lagonis. What do you have to look for? You have to look for the light that you lost. Why did you lose the light? Because you didn't have any more vessel for the light to stay there. Right? It needs a vessel to stay there. If there's no vessel, the light's going to go. Where did the light leave to? Where did the order of Elukus, the Abba Mesoteres, leave to? So he said, in your negative thought, speech, and action, which is Shalei Lashem Heimer. So therefore, that's where you got to go find it and bring it back.
Is that the Eitzah Hara, Rabbi?
What?
This thing that's lacking in the person. He says you have to find it.
Is the Yetzer Hara causes it. You don't go look for Yetzer Hara. You look for the Kedusha Yetzer Hara got rid of.
So my point is, if you have it in the Adam, the person, he has his Nefesh Bahamas. So there's evil in there, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu created a separate entity of evil, like Oisamas Gracious.
No. The Nefesh Habamis is the evil inclination within the person, meaning that part of the person that tries to influence a person to do evil. Hashem created the neshama, which is the part of Hashem that wants the Jew to do good. Like he says in Tanya, 2 kings fighting over a city.
Right.
Nefesh Habamis is that part of the person that wants him to do evil. That's it. We
choose
to listen to the Nefesh Hulekis or to the Nefesh Habamis.
But is evil a separate created entity, like when Hashem created Oisamas Gracious, he created light, and there was evil.
Hashem created evil. But the difference is, Od was created as an end by itself. Bad, evil, is not a purpose by itself. It's not a tachlis by itself. It's not an end by itself. It's a means. In order for good to be good, you need to be able to do bad. But there's no purpose in evil itself.